Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Come here for a minute. I want to talk to you.
Oh, I thought that was on the tape.
I know.
Where did that come from?
Mama says you're brain dead.
Bang your head against the wall.
Okay.
Can't find peace of mind. Brain needs an overhaul.
Bonehead, brain dead.
We're all the same. You can't think straight when your heart is in pain. Turn around, hit the ground. Time to lay your burden down.
The views expressed on this broadcast of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show are those of the co-host and guest and do not necessarily reflect those of our affiliates.
Not necessarily.
The topics and opinions on today's show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice.
Heavens
Take
no.
12 Radio is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Thank God.
And now, here's your host,
The man, the myth, the legend.
the Monty Man.
I'm telling you the truth, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Good guys, bad boys, we're all the same. Saved by grace is the name of the game.
Turn around, hit the ground. Time to lay your burden down. Welcome to the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show.
Oh my God.
And the rat dog goes,
Didn't that hurt your throat?
That's not a dog.
it's a
Anything smaller than Nala is
pomegranate.
not
Pomeranian?
Pomeranians,
Oh,
yeah.
a dog. Don't get me started on small dogs.
Tony's here.
Good morning.
Denver's here.
Howdy.
Marv's here.
Yes, I am.
And James is in the peanut gallery. Hi, James. Hello. Hello.
That's the mezzanine section.
This week, step 5. We basically bared our soul, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We talked to other people about our issues, and we admit to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. We're talking about what that means and what it doesn't mean, and be reading a little bit out of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous on that issue. Before we do that, though, we've got some things to take care of. One of the things I want to let you know is that we've resurrected a series of... Christy's here, too. Hi, Christy's. And Nala's here. Knocking over
They
the
both
heat.
showed
Oh,
up.
my goodness.
They're fighting right now.
Christy's studio kitty and Nala, the studio dog, are chasing each other in the audio booth. But in 2013, myself and Chris S., which is one of the more popular circuit speakers in the world of the 12 Steps, put together a workshop called Walking Through the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, which came on the heels of the workshop, 34 one-hour workshops, Walking Through the Big Book. And which, by the way, is the prize if you win the soundbite contest. We're going to announce the winner here in a minute. But Walking Through the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions was a series that we did. And it is available on our website at take12radio.com under recovery workshops. But we are putting it on Podomatic now. So once a week, we're posting that show. And it is just packed with really some amazing information about the 12 and 12. And for those of you who think the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book is boring and all about business and all this stuff, oh, no. It's got some great meat in there when it comes to your recovery. Hi, Christy.
Nala's waiting over there.
Ever seen a cat fly through the air?
Yes. I have plenty of them, trust me.
So I had a roommate years ago who had a cat, and he would blow pot smoke in its ears.
Not uncommon,
No.
I'm sure.
And then the cat would run around in circles, so we named him Orbit. Orbit the cat. Or he named him Orbit. Anyway, so be looking for those. If you want to subscribe to our Podomatic webpage and get your app for iOS or Android and all that, you go to take12recoveryradio.podomatic.com, or you just go to take12radio.com and click on Follow Me on Podomatic. and you'll be informed when the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions show comes on. It's really an amazing workshop, so don't miss out on that. All right, so last week's, well, wait a minute. It's time to play Guess That Soundbite. That's right. It is time to play that. All right, so last week, Denver, you thought it was...
Yeah, I forgot. That's last week.
You thought it was...
yeah.
Fantasy Island. You
Yeah,
thought
the
it was
plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it, Tony?
The Love Boat.
The Love Boat.
Love Boat.
The Love
For once,
Boat.
I knew one
The
before
plane.
you.
Peter Sanders from Santa Cruz, California is the winner. And
California.
he
Nice.
guessed the Love Boat, and the secret clue was Gopher. Gopher was
I loved
one
Gopher.
of the deckhands on the Love Boat.
Finally, a soundbite I knew.
Yeah,
Kind of like the clinger of MASH or something.
yeah,
Ruining all his future
kinda.
soundbites.
Yeah, kind of. And this week's soundbite, we'll play it again. Here it is. We ought to just stop right there. I mean, if you don't know it by just that, Denver goes, I don't know
You
it.
can see it in my eyes. I don't know it.
So
You
here,
don't know it?
No.
here's the rest.
Oh,
Here's
my
the
God.
rest.
You know, right? Yeah.
Making your way in the world
James.
today takes everything you've got.
Google it.
Okay, now let me
YouTube
just
like
say,
I have that I do.
let me just say that if you ever listen to that
You
entire
really don't
song,
know it? Okay, go ahead.
if you ever
wait
listen,
a minute. Maybe.
if you ever listen to that entire song, it is quite humorous. It is, and it was ahead of its time.
I actually do know it.
What do you
now.
mean ahead of its time?
Oh, it's the topics that in the song they're talking about.
A hint to what's coming.
I'm not gonna. Maybe we'll
I'm
play
gonna
the
have to-
whole song next week or something. But it is a funny song. It is really a funny song. But anyway, if you are the third email, and our email address is take12radio@comcast.net, TAKE the number 12 radio. If you're the third email and you guess what TV show that's from, then you're going to win the audio DVD 34 1-hour workshop, Walking Through the Big Book. You're going to win Basic Prayer and Simple Meditation by Mike D., the book, and you're going to win 2 recovery CDs, music CDs as well. And we'll send that out to you. So,
I'm anxious for
Do
the
that.
hint.
yes.
I think I do know it now.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll give you the hint later.
All right.
So you have to guess the name of the show, and then you have to tell us what the soundbite clue hint is as well. So there you go, right there. There it is. Is Christy behaving?
Stop right there.
Okay.
It's time for Monty Man's Weekly Wine.
I love the baby.
I love the baby. I love the baby. All right.
I'm scared. We're all scared.
So it's not on Facebook anymore, but yesterday I posted. It's amazing how people will misunderstand what you say.
Oh my God, are you serious?
I posted because I was sitting in church, and several people had their hats on, and I thought this is Veterans Day weekend, and I just thought let's show some respect today and. Hats off in church, please. Oh my gosh, the
Way to go.
responses I got.
Way to go.
You take it down?
Yeah, I took it down. It just cause it kept going on and on and on, and people were fighting, and people were coming through their monitors, choking each other. I mean, it was crazy. But I mean, the responses I got were things like, "You can't tell people they can't have a relationship with Christ unless they're perfect." I didn't say that. What are you talking
I think I
about?
might have read that one.
Read your Bible, something like that. God isn't concerned about the way you dress. He's only concerned with your heart. Well, I didn't say anything to the contrary. I didn't even say wearing a hat in church was disrespectful. I just said, hey, let's show some respect today, and hats off in church, please. I mean, it was just a suggestion. It's just a statement. It's amazing how irritated people will get over a little statement. But you post something that's healthy and really good for you, and nobody responds, but you post something like that. So my wine isn't about the hats. It's about Some of you guys take yourself way too seriously.
Right?
Jiminy Christmas.
I love that. You can just throw that topic out there. It's like fishing. You throw it out there, you troll it by, and all of a sudden they're like bass. Boom, they're on it.
And then we hear things like, there's the, well, judge not lest you be judged, by people who that's the only scripture verse they will ever read. They're sleeping with the neighbor's wife. They're embezzling money from work, but man, they're shooting that scripture verse out at you.
Throwing stones at a glass house.
So yeah, there you go. I got another one too, but Denver's got one.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't normally chime in on these wines too much. It's more fun to listen to
Right,
them.
right.
But I ride a motorcycle, and I am now blessed with a set of 4 wheels. So I'm out there cruising to wherever I'm going at a legal speed limit, and I got people come up on me like Mad Max. Boom, right on my tailbone.
Yeah.
And so all I do is I flip my rear view mirror up so I can't see them and just ignore that. And I'm cruising along, and then I do look back, and I notice they drop back, and then they'll excel again up onto me.
They just tailgate on you.
Yeah, like I'm going to move out of the road now. No, actually what I'm going to do is click off my cruise control of 55 and drop her down to about 52. All right? So if you're doing that to me, I know our listeners don't do that, but
not our listeners.
You don't know that.
Please,
You do not know
get your
that.
friends to listen to this. If they're tailgating, don't. Leave a little early, okay? Enjoy the fall weather. Drive safe, all right?
I am telling you, all it takes is somebody to slam on their brakes one time, or somebody in front of them, or whatever, and that'll cure you. Because if you bash in the back of somebody's car, guess what? You're the one by law who's at fault.
Yeah. This is not going to play out good, folks.
No, it's
so
not.
Please back off.
There's a motorcycle accident after the parade
Oh, was there?
by the Fred Meyers
No.
because a car got too close. But it was hit and run.
Oh, my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah, even worse.
I know, right? Do horses do that?
Tailgate?
Yes, of course they do.
I'm speechless here.
Speechless. The other one that I have, and this has bothered me since I can remember, no seatbelts on school buses. I don't get that.
It does seem kind of weird, doesn't it?
I don't get that. Now the seats are made to where if you have a rear impact or a front impact, you're pretty safe. But if you have a side impact,
Oh my God.
They're pretty safe. They'll take your teeth out. What are you talking about?
Well,
There's a bar there.
I mean, they focused on that, but there's nothing for side impact. And there are companies that are coming out now with seats that are equipped with these built-in seatbelts for school buses. But a lot of school districts, they don't even want to talk about it. But boy, I'll tell you what, you drive your car with your minor in the car without a seatbelt on or a car seat, you're going to be in deep weeds if you get pulled over. But you can let your 5, 6, 7-year-old ride in a school bus with no seatbelt, and that's perfectly legal. I don't get that.
That's a good point.
I just don't get it.
That's a good
So
one.
how are you going to enforce that? You're going to have to hire not only a bus driver, but a couple of guards to walk up and down.
Make sure that their seatbelts are on.
Yeah, we're talking middle school kids.
I hear you. But I think at the very least they should be equipped with seatbelts.
Yeah.
Actually, I've wondered that myself, but
I never thought
If
about
you've
it.
ever seen a video of a bus get into a wreck and the kids are slow motion flying through the air,
Not pretty.
Laughing.
Not pretty.
Swing your mic over to James. Swing your mic over to James for a minute. James is somebody that's been involved in emergencies and that kind
Oh,
of thing.
yeah. Hey, good idea.
What do you think about that?
You got
You got to pull it up.
Yeah.
Come on in.
I think they should always have them, but they say it's easier for us to rescue them when we don't have to deal with all the seatbelts.
Really?
Is what I've learned over the years. It's quicker to get them out after the wreck because we don't have to cut all the seatbelts.
Clean up is easier.
Clean up.
You're so morbid today, Denver. Jesus.
I mean, really.
Good Lord, just get a shovel.
I've been tailgated all
Screw
the way
it.
here.
Shovel them out.
Oh, that's an interesting point of view.
It is, actually.
That's why
Yeah.
a lot of greyhounds don't have them, things like that.
Right.
Because it's easier to extricate or remove the patients.
What about
Extricate?
Planes?
I don't even know what that means.
Planes, they make us strap.
What does extricate mean, James?
Extricate means to remove somebody from
Oh,
the vehicle
Right.
or whatever they're in.
Denver just wants to use a shovel.
All righty.
Listeners, I didn't say that.
Oops, what was that? Are you there?
I accidentally touched
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here. And the mic's still here, too.
Okay. Yeah, so, okay. So people that just go off on Facebook over, and this last one was hats off in church. I just, and one guy made an interesting point. We're dealing with all sorts of generations that have come together right now. So, most people that wear their hat in church, they're not blatantly being disrespectful. They may have forgotten to take it off, or maybe there's an issue and they want to cover their head or whatever. It's not a judgmental thing. I wasn't judging anybody. I just thought, and part of it has to do with my generation. I mean, you took your hat off. And so in the Bible, in 1 Corinthians, it talks about, and this is New Testament now, it talks about, because women fall under the authority of the man, they are to wear a covering to resemble that. And man doesn't wear a covering because his authority is God. And so to wear a covering on your head, when it says that a man should not wear a covering when he's prophesying or he's praying, and it dishonors him and dishonors God, because his covering is God. So putting like a hat on would be putting something between you and God. And so that's kind of where that came from. And it's just kind of where it came from. And so you took your hat off if you were a man to give the example that your covering was actually God. So a lot of people don't know that, and it's not necessarily, it's not a law. It's not like in the Ten Commandments. It's not a sin if you forget to take your hat off in church. I just thought it would be kind of nice. I don't know. I was raised when you walked into a room, you took your hat off. When you prayed, you took your hat off. There's people in AA and NA meetings, when they close in prayer, they take their hat off. It's just, I'm not saying you're being disrespectful if you leave your hat on, but
So the women were supposed to wear hats?
Yeah.
Covering.
A covering, yeah.
How are you supposed to do your hair?
Very carefully.
Very carefully. But
way.
I mean, so chill out, man. Chill out. I don't care if you wear a hat or you don't wear a hat. Gee willikers.
Monty's going to need my shovel after this.
That's right. No seatbelts and tailgaters. Yeah. All right. So there does it for the weekly wine this week. We're going to take a break, come back, and do a little Take 12 trivia, and then on with our topic. Don't go away.
Around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you. Your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, you got something to say? Are you looking for the best and most affordable way to broadcast your podcast? Well, Podomatic makes reaching a massive audience simple with free podcasts, customizable embedded players, and promotional tools. It's home to the world's largest directory of independent podcasters, including DJs, talk shows, educational programs, and so much more. Best of all, a basic account is absolutely free, and no special skills are required to set up your show. To broadcast your podcast, visit www.podomatic.com. That's PODOMATIC.com. And let the world hear what you've got to say.
He's insane. He's a control freak. So, what's your point? It's the Monty Man at Take12radio.com on your internet dial.
That's right. La, 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 la.
Sound like church.
Welcome back. Welcome back. What'd you say, Tony?
I said you sounded like church when you did that. Oh my God. Not dog church. I still want to go to cowboy church, though.
Cowboy church.
Yes.
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
Junction-
really?
Junction City. Junction City.
Yeah.
Junction City.
They still have it out there at the auction?
No, I think they moved.
Yeah,
they
that's what I
did
heard.
have it at the livestock auction, but I think
Well, in Junction City, it's downtown somewhere.
Yeah,
So-
they used to have it out at the auction house.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, that was a good time. If you like the smell of cow poo.
Poop.
Cow poo.
Cow poo.
I'll need your shovel.
Yeah, really.
Well, now I can't go to cowboy church.
Are cowboys allowed to wear their hats in church if they sing?
That is a very good point, Marv. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll chime in on that.
I know. Let's start a fight. Let's get a face and start a
We're
fight.
going to fight about it.
If you're doing music,
Yeah.
okay, and you're doing cowboy stuff,
Right.
shouldn't you wear a hat? Your cowboy
Oh,
hat?
okay. Hey, Facebook. I just posted this. Dwight Yoakam
Yeah.
did a tribute to Buck Owens as he was in a church. He was brought up in a church. Always remove your hat, right?
Right.
He was doing a funeral for Buck Owens, and Buck Owens told him once, he goes, Dwight, I sure like that hat on you. I think you should take it off less. So he did that. I posted that on Facebook. He did a tribute to actually leaving his hat on in church, but he apologized for it. So I believe I was just brought up in the generation to remove your hat in a building, and I will forget sometimes, but for the most part,
Right.
yeah, I believe in removing the hat, even if you're a cowboy in church.
So go ahead, Tony.
So as long as you apologize for it, you can wear your hat in church.
That makes it okay.
That makes it all right. So one of the guys was like, God looks at the heart, not on what you wear, and blah 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 blah. You should be able to wear what you want. So I said, okay. So next week I'm going to come to church naked.
La 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 ruse.
La la rue.
La 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 ruse.
And it was funny because one of my Jewish friends, Dave Tagon,
I love him.
he and I were making light of it with each other, and he and I disagree intensely about spiritual issues, and he and I were just having a ball with it, and everybody else was freaking out.
Yeah.
So I told Davis, okay, well maybe I'll start with a Speedo and work up to totally naked. And he goes, I may come to a Christian service to see that.
That'll get him in the pews.
All right, take 12 trivia. If you get it wrong, of course, if you get it right. All right, here we go. Number one, when Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin sat down to eat their first meal on the moon, their foil food packets contained what? Here are your choices.
Oh, my God.
Roasted turkey and all the trimmings, chicken fried steak and carrots, or beef stew and green beans.
How am I supposed to know this?
You guess.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to go with turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah, they were celebrating.
Yeah? Okay.
Marv's usually right, so I'll go with him.
What do you think, Denver?
I know it's not stew because that'd be a horrible mess. So yeah, let's go with the turkey.
Yeah, no gravity.
Let's go with the
Just suck
turkey.
it up.
James out in the back 40, what do you think?
The chicken fried steak.
Chicken fried steak? All right, well, James, sorry, you get a fluffy.
Aw.
It was roasted turkey and all the trimmings.
What did I say? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I cheated. I forgot what I said.
Number 2, male turkeys, known as toms, gobble when agitated. But hens, the females, do not. What?
All right.
That's a switch.
Yeah, ain't that?
Isn't it? What do hens do when they're agitated?
Oh, God.
Do they, A, walk in circles, B, hop on one leg until the male turkey pays attention,
Gee.
C, flap their wings and make annoying clicking sounds?
Oh, I say C.
C?
Uh-huh.
Flap their wings and make annoying clicking
Yeah,
sounds?
because
What
I
do you
can
think,
do
Denver?
that at home. Ask James.
All the above. All the above.
Does Tony flap her wings and make annoying clicking sounds? All right, James says that too. What do you think, Marv?
I'm going to go with the flapping the wings and clucking.
Yeah, you guys are right.
I know, because I'm a hen.
No, you're a chick.
Oh.
You're not a hen. You're a chick.
Like a chickpea? No, that's a bean, isn't it?
A chickpea?
Yeah.
Now, don't confuse me here.
I'm confused. Number 3, where do wild turkeys prefer to sleep?
What?
Where do they prefer to sleep?
I got this one.
In the rain, under bushes, or in trees?
They have a preference?
Yes.
Oh, Lord. In trees.
In
Wait,
trees?
no, they can't fly. In the rain.
In the rain?
Yeah.
What do you say, Marv?
In the trees.
What do you
They
say,
can't
James?
fly.
What do you think,
Yeah,
James?
they can.
They can't?
James says trees. What do you say, Denver?
Tony, you have one chance to change right now. It's going to be trees, predators.
It is trees.
I didn't know turkeys could fly.
Yeah.
When did that start?
When they got wings.
I thought they were like chickens.
Wild turkeys. So here's your number 4 is your
I'm
bonus.
confused.
Can
Chickens?
domesticated
Chickens can fly.
We're moving on to.
No, they only fly like so far and then they die. Or they land.
Then they die.
They land. They land, I mean.
Tony's
they
in the
don't
salad bar. Move on.
I mean land, not die.
Can domesticated turkeys fly, Tony? Domesticated turkeys.
Is
can
there
they
a
fly?
difference?
Yes. One are wild and one are domesticated.
And both of them can't fly?
I'm asking you, can domesticated turkeys
if
fly?
one can go in a tree. Oh, Lord. Do they clip their wings or something? Does that make them domesticated?
It's not the question.
Oh, no.
Pay attention.
Moon pie.
Catch up. Moon pie.
Moon pie.
James, can domesticated turkeys fly?
What's the difference?
One are domesticated, one are wild.
Then why can't they both fly? They're both turkeys.
Denver?
You know, domesticated probably has had their wings clipped, so no,
That's
they can't.
what I was saying.
Marv?
You didn't say that.
What?
Yeah, I did.
Can they fly?
know.
I did.
Marv's taking the 5th.
Can horses fly?
Pegasus.
Pegasus.
Oh.
Yeah. No, domesticated turkeys can't fly. It does not give a reason, but they can't fly.
It's because they've been trimmed from birth.
That's what I said.
Wild turkeys can fly for a short distance at speeds up to 55 miles per
Oh,
hour.
good God.
That's cooking.
And can run 20 and they can run 20 miles per hour. Wild turkeys.
I love it.
Yeah. And then jump in the tree and go to sleep.
Oh, my God.
That does it for Take 12 Trivia.
Some nuggets.
Okay, so coming up on Wednesday, I'm going to give you a little preview here. You guys don't want to miss this. This is a pretty amazing story. So, some could say 58-year-old Scott Underhill was indeed broken. His vertebrae were shattered in 2 places. His chin has a scar where his body was flung into the sandy bottom of a massive wave. His heart stopped beating. But it wasn't enough to keep Underhill of Huntington Beach away from the profession that he loved for decades, lifeguarding in Orange County's beaches. Underhill dipped into the chilly water at San Clemente State Beach for a requalifying swim test to rejoin lifeguards on the sand this summer, just as he had done every year since 1974. Underhill was rescued by Newport Beach lifeguards just 15 minutes before and in the same spot where Newport Beach lifeguard Ben Carlson lost his life July 6th while trying to rescue a swimmer in a strong rip current. He doesn't remember much about the incident and was left in a coma for days before awakening, much to the surprise of those who found his limp body tumbling in the wild surf that day. He has been in bigger surfs throughout the years, but, quote, It was just a freak thing last summer. I was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Underhill is a longtime lifeguard who has spent summers since the 70s guarding various Oregon County beaches. He started at 17 at San Clemente City Beach back when lifeguards were paid $3.06 an hour. He switched to San Clemente State Lifeguards a few years later, in 1982, transferred to Huntington Beach, where he has been ever since. Through the years, he has done various winter jobs like selling pharmaceuticals. that kind of cracks me up, which allowed him a flexible schedule. But one thing stayed the same, his desire and commitment to saving other people. Each year, he'd show up for the requalification test, put on his Speedo, and compete for the spot as a seasonal guard. He saved a lot of people. Scott Underhill saved a lot of people. But just 5 months ago, he had a big metal halo. You know what those are? James knows what that is. Around his head, attached to his shoulder to keep his spine in place. Rejoining lifeguards, as he has done each summer for decades, seemed far-fetched. And he says, I thought about it. I'd love to go back to doing it, but do they really want a 50-year-old guy with a broken neck in a lifeguard tower? He is back doing the lifeguard work. He survived this thing, but I mean, the guy was legally dead. He was tore up.
That's horrible.
Just a mess. And he's so committed to helping save lives on the beach that he went back to it. And he is also a 12-stepper in recovery, has many, many years sobriety. So he's going to be on the show on Wednesday. It'll be posted, and he's going to be
I
sharing
can't wait to hear his story.
his experience, strength, and hope, and what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today. And that's Scott Underhill, so you don't want to miss that.
Cool. Wow.
That's, man. So stuff happens to us. Just because we get clean and sober doesn't mean tragedy doesn't hit, right?
Amen to that one.
It does happen. All right, step 5, revealed. Step 5 states, submitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And where we left off last week was step 4, inventory time. And if you go to here, let me find it here. If you go to page 75 and into action, it talks about what we're doing as far as confession goes. Now, we know that our relationship with God is offered freely, but healing, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and so forth, comes from confession one to another. And a lot of not just Christian folks, but a lot of spiritual and faith-based groups practice this, and everywhere from Hindus to the Jewish community to Catholics and Protestants will practice confession of one form or another. It says here in step 5, when we decide who is to hear our story, we waste no time. Here we go again with Bill W. talking about not resting on our laurels. We get right to it. We go from one step to the next step immediately. It's important because if you wait too long, right, it's kind of like walking by something that is spilt and you go, I got to clean that up. And then you walk by it again. I'll get to it. And then you walk by it again. You don't even see it anymore. So it's important that we stay on top of this step work. We have a written inventory, it says, and we are prepared for a long talk. Where do we get the written inventory? From step 4, right? We explain to our partner what we are about to do. It's not talking about your significant other as a partner. It's talking about the person you're going to discuss this with and why we have to do it. He or she should realize that we are engaged upon a life and death errand. So this confession thing, according to Bill Wilson, is a life and death errand. Your life depends on it. That we are engaged upon a life and death errand. Most people approached in this way will be glad to help. They will be honored by our confidence. We pocket our pride and go to it. illuminating. Now, this is very interesting. Illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past. So I want to clear something up about this. Some people think that means that you have to be almost disgustingly detailed about every little thing you did.
It's worded that way. It's weird.
Yeah.
It is.
It is. But if you go back to what the step actually says, right? It says we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Yes. If you need to get this stuff out on the table, it is going to be very healing, and you may need to do that. You may need to get very detailed. But the focus here isn't on the behaviors as much as is what fueled them. What is the nature of our wrongs? Where was I selfish? Remember that? Where was I self-centered? Where had I hurt the other person? What was driving that? And I think a lot of people will go into a lot of grave detail about all the horrible stuff that they did and never actually look at the nature of it, what was really going on. And so what happens when we don't do that is we're just talking. And it's got to go deeper than that. It says, once we have taken this step, withholding nothing, we are delighted. So these are some of the promises. Every step comes with promises. The first one is we're delighted. We can look the world in the eye because we're not hiding anything anymore. We can be alone at perfect peace and ease. Our fears fall from us. We begin to feel the nearness of our Creator. We can just list these on and on and on. Here's another promise. We may have had certain spiritual beliefs, but now we begin to have a spiritual experience. The feeling that the drink problem has disappeared will often come strongly. We feel we are on the broad highway walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe. So, this is a very powerful step. Let's talk about being careful on who you share this with. Right? But before we do that, Denver, you look like you wanted to say something.
Oh, I got a lot of things to say, and I just can't. I can't get it all in. Feelings right there. You feel like the drink has left.
Problem has left you.
Yeah, the problem has left you. That's a great feeling, but it
you got to be careful with that one.
You got to be careful with that feeling.
Sure.
I mean, that's the first thing that hit my brain on that. So please continue, and then I'll chime in. But yeah, that feeling is wonderful, but it's a feeling.
So it says in here, if we back up a little bit, more than most people, the alcoholic leads, or drug addict leads a double life. He is very much the actor. To the outer world, he presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. He wants to enjoy a certain reputation, but knows in his heart he doesn't deserve it. The inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes. These memories are a nightmare. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside himself. He hopes they will never see the light of day. He is under constant fear and tension. That makes for more drinking. Psychologists are inclined to agree with us. We have spent thousands of dollars for examinations. We know but few instances where we have given these doctors a fair break. We do. We spend thousands of dollars on the psychiatrist's couch, and then we lie to him.
To lie.
It's a lie.
Exactly.
Monty, have you been eating carbs this week? Oh, no. No.
Not many.
Why is your sugar levels 350? I don't know.
I would dream of that.
But we do. We lie to our doctors. So we have this stuff there's shame involved in it. We don't, if you knew that about me, you'd run, that kind of thing. So I think it's interesting that it says we admit it to God, right? To ourselves. And some people will say, and it's in the big book, I'm not going to read it, but it talks about, we think, well, God already knows. But it's not about informing God. It's about opening up and verbalizing it. It's what you're doing. God already does know.
Dumping the garbage.
Yeah. We admit to ourselves. That may be even harder than admitting to God or somebody else. And to another human being. So why do you guys think it's important that if God knows, and we've already accepted the fact that we've been a horse's patootie, why is it important to talk to somebody else about it? Any ideas?
It unloads you.
Mm-hmm.
There's some relief in being able to talk to somebody else about
Amen.
something, just like there's relief in AA meetings to be able to talk and to be able to have somebody listen. But anyway.
Yeah?
Dead on. Unloading it.
Tony, you've done a fifth step,
Uh-huh.
right?
I've done plenty of them.
So what goes on when you talk to whoever you choose to talk to about some of the natures of your wrongs? Is there a freedom that you feel? Or is it off your chest and you go, wow, I got that off my chest?
I think more talking to somebody who really understands, because not a lot of people do.
Right.
I mean, you can talk to a normie, and then you can talk to like somebody who's in the program, or your mentor, your sponsor, or whatever. But they understand how your brain works as opposed to somebody else. And I think talking to somebody who 100% understands is just relieving, because they know how your head works.
Yeah.
And so it's like just explaining to them. They're like, oh yeah, uh-huh, we know. It's just the most amazing feeling ever. Because not everybody knows how your brain works. Like, I can talk to my parents, and they're like, okay, you're weird, sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk to my sponsor. She's like, I get it, But, everybody tries. But talking to somebody who actually understands your thinking is better than
this is
relieving.
This is one of the reasons, and a lot of people think it's a sexual thing. That's the reason why we have same-sex sponsors. But actually,
I've never heard that.
Well, yeah, people say, well, you need to have your sponsor need to be, if you're a woman, be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're a woman and it's a man, there could be compromises.
Oh, I see it. I see.
Okay.
But
there's also another very important element to this, and it's what you touched on. Women think differently than men do. Women process differently than men do.
Mm-hmm.
Men process differently than women do. So when I'm talking to my sponsor about issues that I may be going through, if I'm talking to a female, she may not get my thinking, whereas another guy is going to get that, and vice versa. If it's a woman, she's going to understand another woman like a guy's not going to understand. Now, there are exceptions. There are people that have sponsors that are of the opposite sex, and sometimes that works out really, really well. But I'm just saying there's more to that, having a person that's of the same gender when sponsoring or working with somebody than just whether it could be a sexual compromise. I mean, there's more to it than that because we identify differently.
Yeah, and I've known my
issues.
sponsor since treatment. Actually, her and I were when I relapsed the last time in my last class together. So
right. So it's interesting that this step, this is the one step that says you can actually postpone for a short time. It says, notwithstanding the great necessity for discussing ourselves with someone, it may be one is so situated there's no suitable person available. So if you don't have somebody in your life that you trust and is closed mouth and is available, it says, if that is so, this step may be postponed. Only, however, if we hold ourselves in complete readiness to go through with it at the first opportunity. This is the only time that this is talked about in all the steps, that you can postpone this because it's so important that you find somebody that is going to keep their mouth shut.
And you have to feel safe with them, too.
You got to feel safe, right? Ever had anybody break a confidence, Denver?
There's been a couple.
Yeah, how did that make you feel?
Well, it puts your guard up from there on out.
Right.
Like I said, like that says, you need to pick and choose some people that you can trust. Most certainly, if you're going to give them the details. I try not to get into the war story, which is what is talked about through the program. Don't tell the war stories. I have to give some details for people to understand. But like Tony said here, that book said, when you find somebody you're going to trust, most of the time, if we're in a 12-step program, we're going to find somebody in the 12-step program. Because I don't want.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, because telling this to somebody, would you call them normies?
Normies.
Yeah, I haven't found those yet.
Oh, you're sitting by one.
Anyways. Really?
No.
Anyways, yeah, telling it to a normie, they don't get it. They don't understand.
And nor should we expect them to.
No.
It's not their job.
Yeah.
It's not their job, and I don't expect them to. So it's really, but picking and choosing somebody that you can trust for this step, very important. Very important.
So the children have been passing notes. What's up?
I haven't. I have not.
Just exchanging phone
Boy,
numbers.
there's just no privacy at all in this room.
I don't feel trusted right now.
It was right in front of his face.
No, for a month or so now, I've been wanting Denver's phone number. So
I thought
And it just
I just
hit us
asked
up.
him for his phone number.
I thought he was asking me. I felt a little thrilled at first.
That's funny. Oh my goodness.
Poor James, he's gonna go home scarred for life.
Oh my goodness sakes.
He's a normie.
You know,
He
if this show was on TV, the viewers would have a lot
It
more
used to be,
insight.
remember?
Huh?
We used to be on YouTube, remember? Until
No,
the
I
thing
don't.
blew up. You were here.
Yeah, we would film it. We would do it.
Oh yeah, I know that.
But it's we need an expensive camera that we just don't have the money for because it gets a little blurry. But
Really? Huh.
Oh, it was fun when we were on YouTube.
it is fun. So
I think something.
Yeah.
I just plopped into my head. I think it's important too that these fifth steps, there is going to be response.
yeah,
From whoever you're talking to. And I know when I did a fifth step with my first sponsor, I realized at his response that I was unprepared for some of what I was going to hear.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
oh, sure.
And so just people think about it a little bit. Be prepared for
To hear the truth?
to hear the truth and the response you might get back.
Yeah.
And part of what my sponsor, he laughed at me. He did. He laughed at me, and I kind of got upset. But anyway.
So I had a situation.
Uh-oh.
It was one of my first sponsees. And you talk about getting thrown into the fire right away. This guy came to me and told me that he had murdered somebody and nobody
boy.
knew about it.
Shut up.
Nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
And it had been years prior. It was like 12 years or something.
Wait, what's the statute of limitations on that?
I think back
Never.
then.
I know.
I don't know.
Never.
What did you do? You did the right thing, didn't you?
I can't know.
I can't know.
Good answer.
I have an idea.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
So, yeah. So I'm mentioning this because I can't go into detail about it, but I will tell you this, that it worked out. And he was able to do a 9th step. He was able to make amends. He was able to pay his debt to society and everything. But it was something that was based on decisions that he had to make based on some pretty strong suggestions on my part. I said, my statement to him was, because this was one of my first sponsees. I'd never
Dreamed
dealt with that.
up. Yeah.
God.
And so the only thing I could think of, I just said, well, and I said his name. I said, how free do you want to be?
Oh, beautiful answer.
How free do you want to be? It's kind of on you, And he did what he needed to do, and he took care of it. He's a free man today. I mean, he wasn't for a while.
Jesus.
But this could be spooky stuff. And so here's the other piece. I plus lots of people in the program, depending on their jobs. You may be a court mandated reporter.
Exactly.
And so you need to tell the people you're working with that you are. And they may need to do their fifth step with somebody else. It can be tricky stuff. So a story I heard years ago about a guy that had got into a really big tiff with his wife, and they'd been having trouble for quite a long time. He had his fourth step written out, and she found it. And it was filled with all sorts of improprieties and, you know what I'm saying? And illegal behavior and everything else. And she was not, was it you, Marv?
No. Girls react differently than boys. Marv and I is looking at each other going, ugh.
Well, she was so ticked off at this guy at that
Well, I can't
time.
imagine why.
Well, before this, I mean,
Good
before she
God.
found it, they were already on the outs, right? So she saw this, and that just fueled her. So she called the police. And she turned his fourth step over to law enforcement and didn't say a word to him. And several days had gone by, and there was a knock on the door, and he answered the door, and here was this detective. And he said, "Mr. So-and-so?" He said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Meet your new sponsor."
Oh, my God.
Oh, how sweet.
True story. He handed
For
his
the
fourth...
next 9 months, meet your new sponsor.
He handed his fourth step back to him.
my
He shook his
God.
hand, and see how God worked that out. And he had to do some time and all that kind of thing. But he had this guy that was an officer that was in Alcoholics Anonymous and ended up sponsoring him.
Wow.
Be happy you're a normie.
I'm telling you.
Good God. I wouldn't even do that.
So it continues on here. It says, this is after we've done this. This is returning home. We find a place where we can be quiet for an hour, carefully reviewing what we have done, our fifth step. We thank God from the bottom of our heart that we know him better. Taking this book down from our shelf, what book? The big book. We turn to the page which contains the 12 steps, carefully reading the first 5 proposals. That's the first 5 steps. We ask if we have omitted anything. For we are building an ark through which we shall walk a free man at last. So this is the questions you ask. Is our work solid so far? So steps 1 through 5, is it solid? Are the stones properly in place? Remember, we're building this archway. Have we skimped on the cement that we are putting into the foundation? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? In other words, have we tried to take shortcuts? We've talked about this before. You've got to follow the directions to the letter here. And so because it's a tendency for most people, especially in early recovery, to kind of skimp and, I won't share that. And I want to sit down and go back and think, okay, am I holding anything back? Am I not being honest about this or that? Because sometimes we'll tell stories and we don't even realize we're doing it. But if we go back and read steps 1 through 4 and kind of check ourselves, we may need to go back to our sponsor, spiritual advisor, or mentor and say, you know what, I left something out. I had to do that.
I think everybody's had to do that.
And so that's something that we do. If we can answer to our satisfaction, we then look at step 6. So we don't go to step 6 until we've reviewed what we've done and to the best of our knowledge at the time have talked to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. So remember, it's important that we're looking at what fuels this stuff, not just the behavior. And really, step 5, if you skip this, you're not going to do well. If you're holding stuff back, there's freedom in confession. I am telling you what. And it's interesting because I told my sponsor stuff, and he just looked at me and went, "Me too." You know, we talked about that before. 2 of the most powerful words in recovery. Me too. Me too. You know, in fact, he disclosed some things to me first that it helped me feel more comfortable. And I didn't say me too. Bah.
But you thought about it.
That's how my sponsor is. So she'll
But I
be
thought
like,
about
okay, let me tell you what I did. And then I just talk
Right.
to her.
So not everybody uses their sponsor. I mean, we were talking about using people that understand us.
Somebody you trust, of
But
course.
back then when they wrote this, you know, the numbers of members in Alcoholics Anonymous were small. I mean, there wasn't other people necessarily available. This was a new deal.
Yeah.
And so people were going to people that were licensed to keep secrets, so to speak. So they'd go to their priest or their rabbi, you know, or somebody that was legally bound to confidence to do that. So it doesn't have to be your sponsor. I think that it probably should be if you can.
Just kick me.
Because they're working with you through this step process. Is Mark kicking you?
Boy, I'm back here in the
trouble.
corner. I'm getting in all kinds
Getting
of
into trouble today, boy. No more coffee.
No more coffee.
I'm just saying, for me, it's my sponsor. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, and then for me it was too.
What's a rabbi?
A rabbi? Well, it means teacher. It's Jewish.
Oh, okay.
It's like the Jewish version of a pastor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never heard that word before.
Yeah. Jesus referred to as rabbi, teacher, Hebrew for teacher. Yeah. So step 5 is just vitally important, and you know, depending on how many people you've sponsored over the years, you're going to hear a lot of 5th steps. And you may need to be prepared to hear some pretty colorful stuff.
My first sponsor. So you can tell me everything but murder. I don't want to hear about it. if
Right?
that's the
And then
case.
you went, oh well.
We're done
I
talking.
probably would have pooped my pants.
Yeah.
I would have heard that. Be like, oh, God.
Yeah, that would be a rock and hard spot, most certainly.
Right, and thank God it worked out. I mean, the
God.
guy decided on his own. You know, well, how free do I want to be? Well, I need to take care of this.
That was a good comment.
I don't know what I would have done if he had decided not to take care of
Right?
it. I'm not sure.
'Cause
I'm
you have the
glad I didn't have
anonymity
to find
issue.
out.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't have to find out. So
Right.
if somebody says, "Well, what have you done?" I'm not going to answer that because I don't know.
And I thought my 4th step was bad, and I still have it.
That's kind of important
Good
not to
God.
dump on somebody. Like, you know,
Right.
be aware before you tell this person, are they sound enough in their recovery or
Yeah,
just
because you
it
can
themselves?
you can contribute to somebody
Did
to go
your
back
jaw
out and drink.
drop?
I'm
again.
telling you.
Huh?
Did your jaw drop? Because mine would have.
No, inside it did, but I was very careful to not react. You know,
Yeah, like back up or
Like-
something.
Be like, we're done.
In
Session
other
done.
words, you didn't pull your gun out.
Yeah.
So here's
Yeah.
something. Here's something. Just a little bit of take 12 trivia. Literally, take 12 radio trivia. This guy and I started emailing. This was when email just first started. I think one of the only internet things was like Prodigy or something like that. We emailed each other back and forth, and we called it sponsor to sponsor, because when you sponsor somebody, they sponsor you, kind of, right? It was called sponsor to sponsor. Well, our base URL address for Take 12 Radio is sponsor2sponsor.com. This whole thing, Take 12 Radio, it started out as just a text kind of thing between me and this guy. And then later it developed, and you know, that's another story. But so when you type in take12radio.com, it might show up on the address bar as sponsor2sponsor.com.
Oh, wow.
And that's where this originally came from.
We need this guy on the show.
You know, I don't even know where he's at. He's out of state now. I don't.
If you hear this, call us.
I hope he's doing well. I hope everybody's saying he's
Hope
doing
he's
well.
still free.
All right, so next week we're going to delve in. Yes.
The hint.
Oh, the hint. Yeah, I got to do the hint. Okay, so the hint is Woody.
Oh, nailed it.
Woody.
Nailed
No,
it.
it didn't. No.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Did you think that was going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. For the
That's like Gopher. Like
no, there's a lot of hints to that show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So send in your email, take12radio@comcast.net, and give me the secret clue, Woody, and tell me the name of the show. And if you're the third email, you'll win those prizes as well. Don't forget, walking through the 12 steps of 12 traditions on Podomatic. And there we go, right?
Right.
All right. So our closing song is by Blake Bullerjack. It is entitled God is God.
He's gone up on the mountain, he's gone down at the sea. He's gone all over creation and he's gone all over me. I know God is God, and God don't ever change. I know God is God, and he always will be God. He's gone on the platform, he's gone back at the door. He's gone in the amen corner and he's gone all over the floor. I know God is God, and God don't ever change. I know God is God, and he always will be God. He's gone when the lightning flashes, he's gone when the thunder rolls. He's gone way up in heaven and he's gone down in my soul. I know God is God, and God don't ever change. I know God is God, and he always will be God. He's God in the Father, he's God in the Son, he's God in the Holy Ghost, and he's God all three in one. He was God to old Daniel, God to the Hebrew 3, and this God of the Bible is the one who walks with me. I know God is God, and God don't ever change. I know God is God, and he always will be God. Yeah. I know God is God. I know God is God. He is God when the lightning flashes, he's God when the thunder rolls. He's God way up in heaven and he's God down in my soul. I know God is God, and God don't ever change. I know God is God, and he always will be God. He's God in the Father, he's God in the Son, he's God in the Holy Ghost, and he's God all three in one. I know God is God, and God don't ever change. I know God is God, and he always will be God.
The positive music of Mr. Blake Bullerjack. God is God. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we're wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
Good guys, bad boys, we're all the same. Saved by grace is the name of the game. Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Cause she's a super cat, she's super kitty, meow.
Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Meow.